Welcome to Sonny's, the car wash factory. In conjunction with this training video, please reference each component's owner's manual, available at sonnysdirect.com, before performing any installation, repair, or maintenance procedure. Each manual details specific requirements and settings necessary for the safe operation and maintenance of your car wash equipment.
Welcome to Sonny's, the car wash factory. I'm Robert Andre with Car Wash College. Right now we're going to take a look at our power pack. The power pack is responsible for providing hydraulic fluid to any device that runs off of hydraulic fluid, conveyors, wraparounds, pretty much any device that runs off of hydraulic fluid. In this case, this one's powering our conveyor. One thing we recommend, and this client has actually done, is he has two power packs here for his conveyor, a main and a spare. That way, if this one fails on a busy Saturday, he's got a backup one down here to get him back up and going. So that's an important thing to think about. Conveyors, power packs are a relatively simple device. Basically what you have here is a oil tank. This just holds your oil. Up on top you're going to have an electric motor. The electric motor is connected to what's called a pump. The pump is going to suck fluid from the tank through this suction line. Comes up through the pump, comes off the pump through the flow control valve. The flow control valve is where we adjust our speed. To adjust your speed on any device, you're going to take this, you move it closer to the tin to speed it up, you bring it slower away from the tin to slow it down. Once you have it where you want it, you just go ahead and lock this in position. Up here on this gauge, you're going to get your pressure reading of where the power pack is currently running at. When the fluid comes through this flow control valve, it has two places it can go. One is this way, which takes it out to the equipment. We always recommend for all of our feed lines to run a black hose. This is our return line over here. It's going to be a red hose. So the fluid can either go through this line out, or it can go through what's called the bypass, which brings it right back into the tank. There's two times that there's going to be fluid going through the bypass. One is going to be a constant amount of fluid that's always going through there, which is the extra fluid that's not being used for the speed. The other time it bypasses is if you go past a certain amount of torque, which is going to be set on the power pack. To set the torque on a power pack, we remove this acorn nut that's here. We take this guy off. Underneath here, you'll find an Allen bolt. This Allen bolt is what we're going to use to adjust our torque. The torque needs to be set individually on each device. Refer to the individual manual as to what the torque needs to be set at. To set the torque, you're simply going to jam your feed line on the other end of the hose. With your feed line jam, you're then going to adjust this until the gauge reads the PSI that's specified by your manual. Basically the way that this works is back behind this Allen bolt. If we're to take this out, back behind here, you would obviously not want to do this when it's running. Behind here you have a spring. On the other side of that spring is a stainless steel bolt, or a stainless steel ball. The tighter we make this, the more pressure is applied to the ball, the harder it is for fluid to bypass, meaning the more torque the equipment is going to have. And again, you adjust that per the manual. We're going to go ahead and cover this guy back up. With maintenance on this, daily we want to check for leaks. We want to check for leaks around the pump, the hoses, the fittings. We also want to listen for any unusual noises. Semi-annual, that means twice a year, we're going to want to change this return line filter. The return line filter is important because the return line filter is what cleans our fluid as it's returning back to the pump. If you don't clean this, it's going to cause restriction in the system, which will increase the heat. The amount of heat that your unit has in it will be shown right over here on what's called our sight glass. Inside the sight glass, we have a thermometer. This thermometer is going to tell us the temperature of our fluid. The fluid should never be more than 160 degrees Fahrenheit. If your fluid's more than 160 degrees Fahrenheit, that means you've got a problem somewhere in the system. You can see right now this power pack's been running some cars today, and it's sitting just below 120 degrees, so it's within normal operating temperature. Another common misconception with these tanks is that you need to fill them all the way to the top. The reason we don't want to do that is right here we have what's called our float switch. The float switch gets threaded into the tank, and it's going to sit down at about this level right here. When the oil brings this up, which you can see is about the level where we have it, that's going to allow the power pack to run. When the oil drops below that level, it's going to cause this float to drop. When that float drops, it's going to shut your power pack off. That's a safety feature so we don't shoot oil all over the place. If you fill this up, you're going to lose all that oil before you trip this switch. So we recommend when you change your fluid on the power pack, which is an annual thing that you're going to do on the power pack. At least check it annually and check the condition of the fluid. When we drain out the fluid, we're going to do it through this drain here on the bottom. One thing I recommend with this is the first time you drain the fluid, you're going to have to remove this plug. When you put this back together, instead of putting the plug on, put a ball valve in here and then put the plug on the bottom of the ball valve. That way next time you go to drain it, you can take the plug out of the ball valve, put a hose nipple on it, put a hose, run it over into your bucket, open up the ball valve, makes it a lot easier. So annually when we do that and we drain our fluid, when we go to refill this, we're going to go to our tunnel controller, we're going to turn the power pack to the on position. When it's in the on position, we're going to fill it up until it makes this switch starting to run, and then just put about a gallon more of fluid. That way we have a small margin of error before this trips and shuts off. And that is all the adjustments that we have on our power pack.
Thank you for watching this maintenance overview video. Please visit sonnysdirect.com and review the complete owner's manual before attempting any installation, maintenance, or repair of this component. There you'll learn necessary procedures, settings, and other considerations required for the safe operation of your car wash equipment.